Welcome back to Scruffy Tales, and in today's video we will visit World War II. And we will take a look at one of the most misunderstood battles in history. There are a couple of battles that have entered into popular history, one might call it, battles that the general public are aware of, but what people usually considers to be fact is usually false, made up, or simply plain old myths. The Battle of Thermopylae is a prime example, where 300 Spartans defended against 1 million Persians. In reality, it was more like 10,000 Greeks fighting around 50,000 to 100,000 warriors of the Achaemenid Empire. Another example is Agincourt, where the French knights were shot dead by British longbows, piercing the armor of the knights in great volleys. In reality, the armor was more than capable of withstanding arrows, and the archers had to launch their arrows at short range, carefully aiming for weak spots in the French armor if they were to have a chance of piercing. And even that wasn't how the archers in the end defeated the French army of knights. The British longbowmen charged into hand-to-hand combat with the knights and killed them with daggers and mallets. As you can tell, popular history, as we can call it, usually informs people of an actual event that was massively important, but the details are so skewed that it's basically pure fantasy. And today's battle is a good example as well. The German invasion of Belgium during World War II. The French had built a massive defensive line along the German border. Germany stood no chance of attacking through it. So what did the Germans do? Well, they just went around it, didn't they? They attacked through Belgium and bypassed French defenses, and the French had to surrender despite their big, expensive defensive line. Right? Silly French, who didn't realize how easy it was to attack them, and how smart of the Germans to repeat the strategy from World War I. Popular history. But let's take a closer look at it all. When Germany attacked Poland, Britain and France had had enough. They both became allies and declared war on Germany. Yes, Germany did not declare war on Britain and France. They declared war on Germany as a response to Germany invading Poland. Britain and France, they were not having any of it. Germany attacked Poland. It was completely unjustified. Germany had broken every treaty from World War I, lied to Western leaders. Germany was going down, and Britain and France were dead set on making it happen. And Germany knew they were in trouble. Germany had plans on conquering what they considered to be inferior countries. Germany looked up to countries like Britain and France, these huge empires, and the plan was to expand east to make Germany a nation, an empire that Britain and France would have to treat as an equal. And going east was easy because the British and French had no interests over there, no territory, no real allies. They weren't really invested in Eastern Europe. So going east would be a way for Germany to become an important empire, and in the end, the British and French would have to treat Germans as equals, treat Germany as a superpower. But, to Germany's surprise, Britain and France declared war over Poland. And German military high command were not happy, because Poland, yes, it was conquered, but Poland had put up a fight. Germany won, yes, but it had not been smooth sailing conquering the Polish. And now Germany was at war with the two largest military superpowers of the world. The British had the largest, most powerful navy and a very capable army. The French had, hands down, the best equipped, the best trained, the most technologically advanced army in the world. Germany was in serious trouble. There wasn't much Germany could do about it all, and everyone knew it. The Maginot Line, the French defenses along the border with Germany, were so well designed and thought through that any attack from Germany against these defenses were doomed to fail, and everyone knew it. The French knew it, the British knew it, and the Germans knew it. So, what did the Allies do? They positioned their main forces, the French army and the British Expeditionary Force, on the border to Belgium. The Allies knew that Germany could not attack France directly, so the battle had to take place in Belgium. So, the Allies, having declared war on Germany, their strategy was to draw Germany into battle in Belgium, and in Belgium defeat the German army and basically end the war before it could even begin. And the Germans knew this too. Germany knew they couldn't attack through the Maginot Line, and they knew that the Allies were waiting on the Belgian border. Germany knew that if they entered into Belgium, they would be destroyed by these two technologically advanced and well-trained and well-equipped armies. And the Allies, they had no intentions of fighting this war on Germany's terms. The Allies wanted Germany to enter into Belgium, thereby adding the Belgian army to the Allied forces, and also making sure they were fighting the German army in territory where the civilians would help the Allies, as opposed to fighting in Germany, where the civilians would support the enemy army with information on troop movement and so on. And if you wonder why they wanted this, it is because the French already had in 1939 tried to invade Germany. The German army was engaged in Poland, so France tried to exploit this by quickly advancing into Germany. But the German army managed to redeploy and get defensive lines in place, and the French fell back and abandoned that offensive campaign into Germany. After this failed attempt, the Allies did not want to fight Germany in Germany. They wanted to destroy the German army in Belgium. Interesting side note is that the German officers after World War II admitted that if France had truly committed to the invasion of 1939, Germany would most likely not have managed to hold out against the might of the French army. But that did not happen. The Allies relocated their forces to the Belgian border. And Germany had a problem. They were at war with the two dominant military powers of the world, and there was no conventional way of turning the tables to allow Germany to get a favorable deal out of it all. Going into Belgium would mean that the German army would be crushed. Waiting would only mean that eventually the French and British would invade Germany, with war in the fatherland, German civilians dying, Germany being forced to give up territory. And this was a real threat. In the 20s, France had actually occupied parts of Germany, wealthy industrial regions, for a couple of years, and during the occupation, some 100 German civilians had died as a result of clashes with French soldiers. So, Germany knew what was waiting at the end of this. They had to win this war because the French would not hold back if they were victorious in the end. But there simply was no conventional way of winning. Germany did not have the best tanks, not the best planes, not the best trained troops, not the most maneuverable armies. On paper, Germany was a second-rate army going up against two superpowers. If Germany was to attack, they had to come up with something good. It didn't help that on the 10th of January 1940, a German aircraft transporting German officers was forced to crash land in Belgium, and the Belgians managed to secure from this crash detailed plans of Germany's invasion of Belgium. As one might expect of a neutral country, Belgium wasn't too happy, and handed over an official protest to Germany, as well as informing the British and French of what they had found. the Germans had no choice but to go over all their plans to invade and start from the beginning. The Allies, on the other hand, knew that they could stay calm and wait. Their plan was working. Germany was about to invade Belgium, and as soon as they did, they would step into the trap set by the Allies. German high command struggled with what to do. Rivalry between officers did not help, and several attack plans came and went. What the German generals could agree upon was that they were required to think outside of the box to defeat the mighty and powerful French army, especially as it was supported by the British, and would be further supported by the Belgians. They knew they were walking into a trap, and they knew they had to fight their way out of it. On the 10th of May 1940, Germany set the plans into action and invaded Belgium, along with Luxembourg and the Netherlands. Operation Case Yellow had begun. To the Allies, all was going to plan. The full might of the German army entered into the Netherlands and Belgium, and the French and the British went after the Germans. And by May 12th, the best units of the Allies were racing to engage the enemy in combat and close the trap. It was time to end the war before it had even had a chance to begin. By now, the French were receiving reports from aerial recon as well as from the ground. A significant German force was moving through the Ardennes forest, an area covered in thick woods with only narrow roads. And it appeared as if the Germans were trying to push armored units through this difficult terrain. Not only that, they also appeared to be gridlocked, trapped by the poor state of the roads. The French realized that the main German force was in the north and concluded that the Germans in the Ardennes were most likely a diversion. The real decisive battle was in the north. So the French did not allocate any airstrikes, any significant reinforcements, or any artillery to combat the German flanking maneuver. What the French had failed to realize, that the German plan to avoid the Allied trap in Belgium was to set a trap of their own. Germany used the army and the infantry as bait, luring the Allies to commit to the fight in the Netherlands and northern and central Belgium, and then outflank and outmaneuver the Allies by sending in almost every armored unit available to the German army through the Ardennes, behind the Allied forces, with the intent to reach the English Channel and cut the Allies off from supplies and thereby forcing them to retreat or fight on without reinforcements or ammunition. Once the German tanks had managed to free themselves of the gridlock, they raced as fast as they could towards the sea. Eventually, the Allies realized what was about to happen and acted accordingly. But what they did not expect was with the speed the Germans advanced and how tirelessly they fought. It seemed as if the drivers didn't need to rest or sleep, and the soldiers fighting appeared as if they didn't suffer from exhaustion despite fighting their way through several battles. What the Allies had not counted on was that the German soldiers were using amphetamine to stay awake, to keep fighting, to reduce their need to rest and sleep. The German tanks and the soldiers accompanying them operated without end for 72 hours straight, overrunning and outmaneuvering the Allies at every turn. In 5 days, the Germans had reached the English Channel and cut off the Allies from France and cut off the Allies from supplies and reinforcements. By the 28th of May, after 18 days of fighting, Belgium surrendered and the campaign was over. The British Expeditionary Force and the French army ended up trapped at Dunkirk. The British had lost some 70,000 troops. Unable to flee, the Allied troops would eventually be able to escape back to England, thanks to a massive civilian effort to ferry the soldiers across the channel, relying on civilian vessels. The British leaving behind close to 65,000 vehicles. The evacuation was made possible thanks to 40,000 French troops defending Dunkirk from being overrun. Belgium lost some 6,000 troops to the fighting, and in the end 200,000 ended up as prisoners of war. Germany lost close to 10,000 soldiers. Germany had done the impossible, and in 18 days defeated the world's two most powerful military superpowers in a single campaign. By the 22nd of June, a month later, France had lost some 90,000 troops in combat, and close to 2 million soldiers had been taken prisoner of war. So as you can see, it wasn't a matter of simply going around the Maginot Line through Belgium. The Allies knew it would happen, and they had planned for it in advance. And once the battle began, France had the opportunity to stop the German Blitzkrieg dead in its tracks before it even had begun, had they only allocated proper forces to hold the Ardennes while the German armored columns were gridlocked. Germany gambled, and they went all in, and unfortunately it paid off. The Maginot Line did what it was built to do: prevent Germany from attacking France. It forced Germany to attack France by going through Belgium, just as the Allies had anticipated and planned for. That's all for this time around. Thank you for watching, and I hope I will see you in the next one.